Perfect. Okay. Welcome back to NTheRealestWay podcast by Marqes Smith, where we talk about so many topics in the realest way. On this podcast episode, we have a very special guest. Give it up for Travis. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, get into it. Okay. On this podcast episode, we're going to talk about mental health and the impact it has on me. And, Travis is going to do his little take on it, honey. But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about mental health. But first, let's talk about this whole setup, right? Mm-hmm. We had a whole debacle this morning. I was stressed out. Ooh. I was so stressed. I'm like, the audio, it's not working. I don't know what's going on. So...
Yeah, it was a little bit difficult in the beginning, but I mean, you find a way to make it work.
That's what he was saying the whole time. He was like, it's okay. I got all the time. It's okay. I'm like, it's not okay.
Well, I mean, I feel like as a friend or whatnot, or, as that supporter, you want that person to be like supportive. You don't want me over your head, like, hurry the fuck up. Like,
yeah.
Do this.
Yeah. But after this one, I'm about to find out what's going on for real, because this is crazy. I'm tired of dealing with it.
Hey, make it do what it do.
Yeah. But... I was having like this same issue, but it was different, right? I'm like production. I'm literally production, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting here like, what's going on with the equipment? This is me. Last time I made the podcast episode, I had some cotton, because we had that potluck, and we could talk about that too, the potluck. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what happened. Oh, I know what happened. I took a nap or something, and then I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the podcast episode. And when I came to the podcast episode, I had like cotton all in my beard, and I didn't see it. I was like, damn it, production! Whole time I'm production. Why you ain't check your face like that to see? I was like so embarrassed, but like, it's like...
this is all learning experience though, so whenever you do make it to that level, like, you'll already be on top of yourself and on top of your guys, like, hey, make sure you double check this, make sure you double check that, so you don't have to. So it's all learning.
Yeah. Also, I know I was in my little hottie hole, right? Because I was like you know how we talked about before, like...
My office.
I was in your office. You was not in your office.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Your hiding hole was my office.
Oh, yeah. So where was you at? Because I didn't see you that much.
I was out there doing what I had to do, as a leader. Like, I couldn't hide. Like, my face was expected to be seen. So
yeah. So what were you doing, though? Like, the specifics?
Serving food. Giving food away.
Okay, but after that, I didn't see you after that.
Because I was eating my food.
Okay. Anyway, I had a little good time. It was real cute. I didn't do too much. I didn't eat too much. I'm trying to, be consistent and be disciplined. So,
what was your favorite dish?
I don't know. I always love me some macaroni and cheese. I feel like certain people, you just look at them, they can make a good macaroni and cheese.
Okay, I ain't gonna say.
Who made macaroni and cheese? I forget. Was it Bill?
No, that was Bass.
Bass made macaroni and cheese?
Yeah.
You lie. You lie.
That was bad.
He made macaroni and cheese?
Yeah.
Wasn't he one serving it? No, it wasn't him serving it.
No, I think that was maybe Castillo, yeah.
He was like,
yo,
you want to...
Castillo, he was serving it, man. He did something that just kind of triggered, like, the black side of me. So you know how, like, going to a Black Thanksgiving, fucking, when you get macaroni and cheese, you start from the fucking outside.
He went in the middle?
Yeah, he started from the middle.
Oh, my goodness.
But it's like, it kind of triggered me, but then, like, I was like, man, well, I mean... Look where we at, this is like everybody's mixed culture, mixed race. But yeah, that did kind of trigger me just a little bit. I thought it was funny.
But what he didn't like. I mean, of course, like I was like one of the last people, I guess, to get food. You were like, you didn't get food that later on. Oh, you saw him serving it, and you was like that.
He was serving it with me. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was over there, and he was like, "What do you want? You want just the soft side? You want the edges? I love me an edge, honey. If you don't get the edge, something wrong with you. You gotta have some crunch with the macaroni."
That was everybody up.
That's serious.
Okay.
Who said? Name some people who said, "Oh, I want the middle, the soft."
I mean,
because they're going to jail.
But think about it. If you was back home, like, and you was getting macaroni and cheese, you wouldn't really have an option. Like, you would just scoop. Nah, it's definitely a pattern. It's definitely a way.
But I don't like back in the since we were going to the households, honey. What I ain't like is when my grandma, every time I was in the kitchen, every time she came in the kitchen and I'm trying to get some food, she literally gets up out and goes in the kitchen and literally looks at me like trying to see how much food I get. Girl, get away from me!
That's granted, man.
I don't like that.
Sure everybody else is eating.
I don't like that. Just let me get my food and let me do my thing, and then just that'll be it. Okay. And speaking on households, Black households to be specific, we're gonna talk about mental health and our impact. So, talk about, was your relationship with your parents, your household, would you say it was a healthy experience?
Fuck no. Fuck. Hell, fuck no.
Why? Why wasn't it?
No. Ooh, and I hope he see this too. Ooh. Nah, so my pops, like, he had his own issue. He had his own problems, battling drugs and stuff. My stepmama, she used to beat the fuck out of me. Like, I was the definition of redhead stepchild. Like, she used to beat the fuck out of me. And yeah, I mean, so I grew up with those, like, with my dad and my stepmom. And with my real mom, like, she was there, but she wasn't there. We lived in the same city, but it's like, I stayed with my dad. He was the one who raised me, so, yeah.
So you think, I just cannot with the abuse. I just never understood, like, how do you associate discipline with abuse? Because in my opinion, I feel like, and you can say yours, what did you feel like when you got abused? Was it a thing of, oh, okay, I learned this lesson, or was it more so, I just want to do this again because I don't want to get my ass whooped?
It was a little bit of both. For some of it, it was like when I was getting my ass beaten, I know if it like wasn't nothing that big or nothing that serious, it's like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, I mean, I'm a little kid, I can't do shit about it, so you know, I take my licks on the chin, I keep running, I keep playing, but it's like, damn, that's really fucked up. But if it was something, you know, like where I realized after I got the whipping, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't have did that, maybe I shouldn't do that, that's bad. Then, you know, I take that as a learning experience, and I kind of ran with it. But it's like, I don't know, I was different as a kid too, because I used to do what I wanted to do. Like, whatever it was I wanted, I did it. What about you?
I was a crazy child. It was only, no, I'll say before that too and after. But yeah, I was a crazy child. I had my days of, you know, causing a ruckus, and I got whoopings. I say they're beatings. I say they're abusive, you know.
Say they're abusive?
Yeah, because I was having this conversation with a couple of people from the company, and they were like, abuse is not, whoopings are not abuse, right? They were saying it's not the same thing. It's not. It's like they're just disciplining your children, and when they get older, they're going to discipline their children the same way. But I was like, think about it. When you got your ass whooped, did you ever really truly learn from the mistake or like the lesson? They said no. They just didn't do it. They decided to hide from it or sneak. I'm like, well, think about what you're going to do to your children, because they're not going to do. They're going to do the same thing you did.
I can agree and disagree with that one. I sit on both sides, so I feel like, you know, sometimes like when if you mess up in school, you know, you act up in school and you come home and you get an ass whooping, you gonna want to go to school and not fuck up so you don't get an ass whooping again.
Yeah.
So like in those cases it worked for me. One ass whooping particularly, I remember we was poor. So I used to put water in hot sauce, you know, to make it last longer. It came out, you know, that I was putting water in the hot sauce to make it last longer, and I got my ass whooped. I had good intentions, so to me that was like a fucked up ass whooping.
At school?
No, at home. At home. Everybody with my ass at school.
No, I'm saying I thought you came up to the school and whooped your ass.
No, I ain't never got one of those. I think.
Oh, I did like one time.
One time?
Let's not talk about that right now. Let's talk about this thing. So think about it. Did you, at this age right now, you got a whooping for putting water in hot sauce because you had good intentions.
Yes.
Think about that. You literally got your ass whooped because you had good intentions. Yes. And you didn't know what you were doing was wrong.
That is correct. Yeah.
So instead of an abuse, you don't think a conversation would have sufficed? You don't thinking that even if it took longer, even if it was more difficult, the conversation would have been more of an understanding.
The conversation, if they would have had the conversation like, hey, you don't put water in hot sauce because you fucking watered it down. It don't work like that. That would have been enough for me.
That's what I'm saying.
But remember, it was my stepmother who beat me, and I used to get my ass whipped by her. So for like, if I dropped a dime, I was getting my ass whipped. Yeah. And I mean, that's just how I guess she kept me in line, how she kept me on my toes.
Yeah, but that's like an internal thing from somebody else trying to put what they have onto you and all that stuff. And even if it was, say, even if a parent had the best intentions, right? Say, even if the parent was like, okay, I'm whooping you because I want you to learn from this and understand this. We've come to a point in our generation, in our lives, where they think that something quick as a whooping will suffice for everything. Like, oh, I'm just going to whip you instead of having a conversation because a conversation is too long. A conversation is too difficult sometimes. And they don't want to actually do the work and be the effort. My thing is, just don't have no children. You can't be there mentally, even if you are there financially. I know a lot of people who have like who have children who are financially stable. They can support their children. If anything happens, their children are going to be okay. Mm-hmm. But they're not there mentally. So there's this thing of mentally, physically, have both before you have children. Like, you're not going to be a good parent.
Not everybody thinks like that.
That's the problem.
Keep in mind, it's people younger than you having kids. Yeah. I mean, but you're thinking the way that you think. I think the way that you're thinking is, it's very good. It's very progressive. But the people that's younger than you, they haven't reached that stage in life yet. Mm-hmm. It's people older than you and having kids, but they still haven't reached that stage in life yet. So, like, I get exactly where you're coming from, and I agree with you. But I'm also understanding to the fact that not everybody thinks alike, and not everybody thinks like how you're thinking.
Yeah. And it's like an honest conversation that I think that's why it's not working. It's not moving towards a place of healing. I know that we're moving right in terms of mental health. I know we're moving towards something that's better than it was before. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like the household and the abuse and stuff, we have to realize that when we talk about these things like this, it's a generational thing, and it's happening because it's coming from generations of this person did that, so this person did that, and this, and we don't stop it where it's coming from. We continue the cycle, and we continue the cycle over and over and over again, and that's why people are having children at a young age, because they're sneaking out and doing anything because they don't want to have a conversation with you. They don't want to talk to you because they don't feel safe. There's plenty of times when I try to talk to my parents, my grandma, about something meaningful, something that was very vulnerable for me, and I was dealt with backlash. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to tell you. Now I'm going to hide. Now I'm going to sneak around. Yeah. And then that's why people get pregnant. That's why people are out in the streets doing all God knows what, because they don't have honest conversations with their parents. I'm literally this type of person. You want to go out and you want to live life, you want to experience life, do it in the household. Like, I remember one of my friends that is here said something about, oh, I was going out because I wanted to smoke weed and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. What did you tell your mother? Because I'm the type of person where she should have gave you the opportunity, even if she didn't agree with it, to let you do it in the house, safe of the house. You know, because you're either gonna do it right here or you're gonna go out there and do it some other way.
I get you.
So I'm like,
so what you're talking about now? I just feel like that's different parenting leadership styles. Like with your style, it's like how you said, if my kid is going to smoke weed, I'd rather my kid smoke weed in my house where I know they're safe, where I know they're taken care of. If anything happened, I know I can take care of my child. I can watch out for my child versus my kid out there smoking weed with who knows what.
Anything.
Versus the other side of parenting was like, nah, my kid ain't going to smoke weed. My kid try to smoke weed, I'm going to punish him. I'm going to do whatever. Like, I'm going to put the fear of God in him. There's two different types of parenting styles, and I've seen both of them work, and honestly, it just depends on the parent and it just depends on the child. I think they can both work. It's just different variables, you know.
Yeah, I feel like even so that it's different. There's levels of the differences where people get messed up. You know, when you think about races and like, you know, white people and black people, Hispanic people, a lot of people say that Black people are very strict, and, you know, Hispanic people are very, you know, strict about, you know, parenting and all this other stuff. And then white people, you know, most of the time they're soft. So when they think about, you know, soft parenting and they think about all these things of like, oh, different types of parents, they don't realize that you can just meet. Everything ain't got to be, okay, well, this and that and this and that. You can meet both ways. You can still have a soft, you know, relationship with your child while also being stern because they're your child.
Yes.
And that's what people mix it up at. I'm not asking you to just let me walk all over you. I'm asking you to have a conversation with me. I don't need you to. The whooping ain't gonna stop me. I need you to tell me, hey, Smith, this is why this is what you're doing, and this is the cause of it. Because if you don't tell me, how am I supposed to know?
All right, so from the way you're talking and the way you're speaking, it seems like you're very anti-whipping.
I'm against it 100%.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, my next question to you is: you don't think you ever got an ass whipping? You're just like, damn, hey, looking back at it now, I deserved that one. Maybe I shouldn't have said this one.
I don't think I ever deserved an ass whooping. I think I deserved a parent who took time to talk to me and to understand me.
Okay. All right. And with that being said, I just want to point out, and I know you know some too, but not every kid is the type of kid that you can talk to and then listen.
100%. That's why I said it's going to take time. And that's why people decide to go the quicker route to whoop them.
But listen, like, as much you can talk blue in the face, but for some kids, like, they just gonna do whatever.
I'm gonna keep talking blue in the face, and I'm gonna try another tactic that's outside of whipping them and abusing them.
Okay, all right. So you said you're gonna keep talking blue in the face, right? with no end results.
I'm not saying that. I said
no
I'm gonna talk to him blue in the face, and if that don't work, I'm gonna go find another result. I'm gonna find another tactic to go about it, but it's not gonna be abuse.
Okay, I got abuse, and I did also get whippings. I'm not gonna lie. The times that I did get whippings, or ass cuttings, ass whippings, I feel like some of those, like if I didn't get them, I would have been a completely different person. It would have put me down the path where I could think I can do whatever I want to do and not have to care about other people.
But you're missing the point. It's like, it's not that the ass whoopings was not going to be the punishment. There's other ways to punish children.
Correct.
So a different tactic is what I'm saying.
But myself.
But you never had a different tactic, so you wouldn't know.
Yes, I did. As I got older, they tried different things, but
as you got older, once you get to a certain age, you set in your ways. You got to start with a young. Okay? I got to an age where I'm like, okay, my grandma stopped. She stopped trying. Because at a certain age, she already knows, they're already set. It's already...
I hear you. I just know with some people, like everybody is different. So with some people, they might need that physical pain, like that from that ass whooping, like to make them change their ways. A conversation might not help. Like I'm telling you right now, I know for a fact a conversation wouldn't have helped me because I still do it to this day.
But you don't know that. You still do it to this day exactly because the whoopings did not suffice.
They did, but
they suffice for a certain amount of time. It was an expiration and it expired.
Yeah,
and now you're an adult and you're doing the same thing. And this is crazy to me.
Listen,
this was crazy to me. Like these people are like their parents saying, "Well, I got this when I was younger and I did this and I got whoopings for it." But when I look at them when they're older, they're doing the exact same thing. The only issue is there's nobody above them giving a whooping. Okay, nobody's whooping them. So now I'm an adult now. That's their reason. I'm an adult. I can do what I want to do. Nothing changed. You're still doing the same things you were doing as a child. It may not be like to the same level, right? You might not be drawn on the walls for no reason, but there's certain things that you're still doing right now, and the whooping did not suffice. Because that's what it's for, right? It's supposed to give you a punishment so you can learn from it and it'll never happen again. So why do we think that if I didn't get a whooping, I would have not been the same person as I was? You don't know that.
Why do I think that?
As I'm saying, like, because you don't know any alternative things. It's like saying, imagine a different color. Like, can you imagine a different color? Like right now, like a random, like a color we never saw before. Can you?
Shit, no.
Exactly. Why? Because you never seen it.
But listen. Remember in the beginning, I said I came up with like a strict stepmother. Like I came up with like her, and also came up with my dad. My dad rarely beat me, but when he beat me bad. He beat me worse. But he rarely beat me. So the reason why he didn't beat me like that is because one thing he always said is like this right here is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you.
That's a lie.
And tear my ass up. Listen, and tear my ass up. So with that being said, like I did also get some of those talking. Like sometimes I did like get out of ass whipping because he was there, because he was the one doing the talking. Like one time, example, I stole something from school, like Christmas holiday. Everybody brought gifts and stuff like that, right? It was like an exchange. So in order to get a gift, you had to bring a gift. I ain't had no money. I ain't get no gift. So I stole somebody's gift. My mama, she was ready to whoop my ass, like just straight up murder me. But then my pops, like he was like, "Hey, why did you do this?" And then I'm like, "Well, I took it because I felt left out. I ain't had nothing." And so like with that being said, like he didn't whip me on that because he understood. So it's like I did get both sides of it. Yeah. But I do know like it was necessary for me to get some of those ass whoopings. I do understand that much. I understand both sides. I do. I understand both, but some of them are necessary.
I don't know. I'm just gonna we're gonna have to just think this way, think that way.
That's the great thing about it. I like that how me and you, we can like be completely in disagreement with each other, but we can still like talk about this as civilized adults. Like you're not saying I'm wrong and I'm not saying you're wrong. We can be civilized about it. I like that.
And I wish more of us in our community, like of being men, right? If you identify as a man, I wish more of us had those kind of conversations where it was healthy. Because when we're younger, we were taught to be tough, be men. Like I literally talked about my podcast before this. We were talking about, like I was talking about how my grandma was like, you know what, you don't have enough male friends. You need to be around men. You need to be doing this and that and that. You need to be more of a man. And it impacted me. But I learned that she and anybody else who wanted me to be a certain way, it didn't matter what they thought. It was what I wanted. So I got out of it at an early age. And I decided to just be who I was. But a lot of people they didn't learn that way. And they were taught that you can't show your feelings and you can't be, deemed weak.
Facts.
So,
Facts.
How did you specifically cope with that at this age right now?
Could you ask that question one more time, but in a different way?
How did you not only cope with it, how did you learn how to work through the things that your parents taught you or like told you that you had to be like a man?
Man, for the longest time, and I mean it's good, for short-term results. If you want short-term results, it's good. But for the longest time, I picked one foot in front of the other and, just kept going. I was always the type, to throw some dirt on the wound and keep going, like keep it pushing. Like I'm like, man, I got bigger shit to worry about. Like this shit hurt. It's fucking with me now. But I can't stay here. So I just had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. That's the only way.
Yeah. And looking at it, and I'm literally visualizing what you're saying, it looks like when you just say you're gonna put some dirt on it, you're just putting dirt on it, and then you putting more dirt on it, and then eventually you're gonna have this big pile of what? Like just anger and just lashing out and all this other stuff. Just like
exactly.
So when we talk about mental health specifically for men, especially in the Black household, right? Because and all these other like cultures and stuff, they have their own thing of like they don't have to be this way, that way. It's specifically, and I can only talk specifically for the Black community. We don't realize how much we're putting on Black men to be a certain way. You got to be this way. You got to support. You got to supply. Right? There's more than there's a plethora of ways to support people, and you don't have to be deemed as this masculine man who can just save everybody. Because sometimes we need saviors. We need to be saved too.
You do, but you don't get them, especially in the Black community. We rarely get saviors.
So we need to, and I hate that.
I feel like a lot of our saviors, and I mean, historically, facts have shown either they've been killed or thrown in jail or assassinated. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Like, I mean, come on now. A lot of our father figures, they were thrown in jail. A lot of our father figures, they drugs being forced into the community, they were absent fathers,
Also, when you go back way further than that, and maybe I'm missing some information because it was a while since I heard this, but they were saying that this started long before during slavery time when they took men, like they would have children and then they would just take the men from the mothers and like they would just like grow up without fathers and all this other stuff. So it's been a thing that happened in generation and generation. And my issue is people don't want to talk about the past. They think, oh, that's the past. It's the past. It has no long lasting effect on right now. So everything like, oh, how is a father being absent all the way back to slavery time affecting fathers right now?
It definitely does.
It does, and it's a cycle.
Does. That's like me saying, like, if my great grandpappy, if I'm white, he was a multi-millionaire. You don't think, like, to this day, like, it wouldn't have no effect on, like, how my family is and how my family moves? Like, no, of course, like, I'm not saying all those millions are still going to be there, but, like, some wealth will still be there. Like, I would still be affected to this day. And you got to think about that's not that far long ago. Like, people like to talk like that was thousands of years ago.
I know. It was literally, like, what, a couple hundred years? Was it a couple hundred?
A couple hundred,
yeah. Yes. But you know what's crazy is I literally heard that there were some states where some people didn't even know like slavery had ended, and that's so crazy. And that was like close, like what's like the 19s or something, 1900s, like early 1900s.
So yeah, what you're saying is true. So what happened was the government. I mean, I'm summarizing here, of course, but like they created like a specific armies or different armies and stuff like that, to where they would go around and just like make sure everybody is following the rules. Like there was no slavery, like quote unquote slavery, like. So, I mean, because of that, the government, they have to step in and, force people to let the slaves go.
Yeah. Also, I heard this thing about police officers. Like, do you know the main reason why police officers were even created?
They were like police black people or something
like that?
Yeah,
to police black people.
I heard something like that before.
And then I read this thing that it literally blew my mind. Like, of course, like, I realized it, but I didn't realize it like that way. Whatever side the police officers are defending are the oppressors. Point blank, period. If a police officers are protecting you, and I'm not mean like, of course, you're getting robbed or something, but I'm saying if you're protesting, you're doing this, or like you're actively out there like protesting, and like you're on the receiving side of the police officers, like they're literally trying to stop you. You're the oppressed, and the people on the other side are the oppressors, because the police officers will always protect the oppressors. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy to me.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. Every single time. So I feel like a lot of issues is because we don't have healthy conversations, and that's why people feel like they can just do anything and stuff. So
what we're doing right now, this is a new, like as black men, you know, we're sitting on the couch, we have a camera here, but we're talking about our feelings and our thoughts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new. We don't normally do this, and I feel like it's because a lot of the times we don't have the time, we don't have the energy, the motivation to do so, or it's just like we're not taught how. What we're doing right now,
yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but I've never seen like black men sitting and talking about like health issues like how we're talking now. So it's like we wasn't taught this, you know?
Yeah. Well, 100%. I know it's gotten a lot better since, like, when I was younger. Like, I'm starting to see it a little bit more every now and then and there. But it has definitely come to a point where we're now choosing to be more active and we're choosing to be more on the path of healing.
That's growth.
Yeah.
That's growth.
It is because I don't know if I could live back in them days. I probably would have survived. You know, I'm saying I wouldn't have, but
I think about that often. I thought about that often. I used to think about it a lot. So it's like, right now, if you was to take anybody or most African Americans from today's time and put them back 50 years ago, we would not survive. We would not survive. But the first time we go to a diner and they say, "What you doing here, boy?" Oh, that's it. We going off and we gonna get killed. But if you was to like put us in that time period, like if we were raised in that time period, that would be the norm. So we would be accustomed to it. It wouldn't bother us as much as it did now.
Yeah.
So would we survive in that time period? Nah. But if we was born and raised in that time period, it'd be different.
Because you're accustomed to it. And that's a lot of things where when we talk about topics and we talk about this thing and this thing, we're the people who look at like we're crazy. Because we're talking about it. Like, why are you talking about mental health? There's nothing wrong. Like, why are you talking about your parent disciplining you? Like, they're making it seem like, since they're not used to it, that you speaking about these conversations, you're causing issue, you're causing ruckus, when really you're bringing something to the light that people have decided to shun and put in the darkness for so long.
But I feel like the people who think those ways, those are like the traditional way of thinkers. With the newer generation, like the younger people, like we are exposed to a lot more. You know, us being in Korea, us being able to be in America, but see how things are ran in Germany or, you know, Pakistan, etc. We're exposed to a lot more, so we learned a lot more. Our minds are a lot open into what our parents were. So I think that just put us on a different pedestal.
Yeah. Also, it hit me a couple of days ago when I was just walking around Korea. I was like looking at people like, oh my goodness. You know, when you like far away, like, because they think about America like that. But when you're like far away, like they look at us like, oh my goodness. You know, some people like, oh my goodness, you're from America. Like, y'all are so, y'all look so amazing. Y'all look so different. Y'all are so cool. And then like, I was thinking like, oh, well, y'all think that way of us. And I think that way of you, you know, like, because I've never been here before. But once I started like hanging around these people, I realized, like, yeah, they're different, right? Different cultures, right? Everything is beautiful. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty, people are the same everywhere.
You think so?
Yes, like, I'm looking at people, like, of course it's, like, different, like, traits and stuff that are, like, maybe a little different, right? But, like, in terms of being a human being, human beings are everywhere. There's nobody really anywhere that's, like, different.
I disagree with that 100%.
Why?
Why? Because coming from America, all we're taught is selfish.
Coming from America?
Yes. Yeah, I'm American. You're American.
You know that Coming from America, the show?
The movie?
Yeah, the movie?
Yeah.
I tried to cut you off because I thought about that, but go ahead.
This guy. But nah, so coming from America, especially over there, everything, you know, it's like gimme, take, push. I stole that from Tupac, just that little quote right there.
Okay.
But nah, that's how it is. It's like, you know, you take, you cold hearted. You have to be cold hearted over there. But I feel like whenever you go to other cultures and like whenever you go to different countries and stuff, it's not like that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. That's a culture thing.
Okay, but what you're saying, all right, so I feel like your culture, it determines who you are and how you are, your culture. But you just said though, it's like everybody is the same. Not
like that. Let me rephrase then.
Let me
go ahead. Because
all right, so that's how the American culture is. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I believe it's like that.
Okay, all right. So whenever you go to places like Hawaii or like even Korea, it's like it's not as much as gimme, take, push.
It's we.
Yeah, and they're more family oriented. You know, so like whenever I was talking, damn, I forgot what she was. She wasn't American, but I was talking to this one girl and German. I was talking to this one girl, and she was, just telling me about her family and stuff like that, and then like how their family is close knit, and I was giving her a little bit details on my family dynamic, and like to her that was just mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, because we come from gimme, take. That's not them. That's not something that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't think, everybody is the same when it comes to humans.
Yeah, but that's the same thing I said, but just said it a little differently. And in terms of culture, yes, like our culture definitely has an impact on how we live and what we decide to do, right?
Uh-huh.
Of course, like that part is going to always be different. That's the beautiful thing about it, right? But in terms of like being a person, like in my mind, when I thought about, I'm going to Korea, like the mindset is going to be totally different. Like they're not going to be like the same kind of humans as us,
Mm-hmm.
Like, but when I got here, they got goals,
Mm-hmm.
they got aspirations, they got their faults, they're people. That's the point. Like I didn't realize that they were people, because you go, and that's what they don't realize when they get here.
I got to stop. What you mean you realize they was people?
Like not that they were people, but like a different type of people. Like you don't understand. Let me try to.
I don't. You gonna have to clarify this.
Yeah.
For the show.
They understand. You don't understand. Okay, let me try to rephrase it.
Yeah, please.
It's not that they're not people. It's that they're different types of people, and they're so different from us that when you look at them, you just know, not by appearance, but just by internally. Like when I got here, I didn't realize that. You know what? These people are the same as us. I literally saw somebody trying to steal from the store today.
Yeah.
Yeah, not today, but like yesterday.
Was that Korean?
Yes. And that's my thing. Like, and I had realized, like, yes, there's different cultures and different people, but like, they're still people. They still have things that they need. Like, they're still gonna make mistakes and everything. That's the point I'm saying. Like, I didn't realize that it was like that.
Whoever he was, he don't belong in America. Hey, if he's still over here in Korea, man, he'll go crazy in America.
Yeah, but like that's why I'm saying, like, I didn't realize that everybody, you ship it all the way. We're all human beings. We're all people.
We have the same basic factory reset. Pretty much what you're saying. Like if you hit that reset button, we all the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying now. The way you phrase that earlier.
Yeah, I know. I phrase things differently. I'll do a whole circle around a loopity loop.
Well, I was a little bit worried. I thought she was gonna get canceled.
They ain't gonna cancel me.
All right. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Good conversations.
It's definitely some good conversations. We need to get back into that mental health, though.
Okay.
We can talk about that mental health.
All right, let's get into it.
Let me share. I don't want to talk about that other thing until like way later on. Really, like, so I can really get to like the crying and all that other good stuff. Okay.
I ain't gonna cry.
Okay, because let's talk about it.
I'm not that type.
Why do you feel like you didn't cry? Because you got a whooping when you cried.
Nah,
You said your stepmom was like, stop like what you know that what's that saying?
Stop crying if I give you something to cry for.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like that was like a man thing. Like they did it to the men.
But so yes and no. I'm getting comfortable. Yes and no. So I think I have that toxic. I know I have that toxic masculinity inside of me. So it's like different thing. I know it's not right. I know it's wrong. But that's just like that's just instilled inside me. I do what I can to change what I can, but what I can't change, I just accept it, and I accept myself. I love myself for it. So it's like me crying in front of others or me crying, period, that's a no-go. Like,
but why, though? Like, really get into it. Like, why do you feel like crying?
Why I can't cry? It's a sign of weakness. I mean, it's just... Listen. I was straight up. I was honest. I said, I know, that my way of thinking is toxic. Like, if I could go back in time and change it, I would have to be raised a different way in order for me to think differently.
But I know why. You're not gonna get that chance.
I know. So I just have to accept who I am and love who I am.
Mm-mm.
What you mean?
But why do you feel like
I never
why do you think crying is a weakness thing? Why do you think
why?
Because we had a whole conversation about vulnerability. That's a part of vulnerability. Getting people to see that side. Everybody doesn't have to see you cry. But why can't certain people that you care about see you cry? Why is it a weakness?
Why do they need to see you cry?
It shows that you're human, you have emotions, you have feelings. Crying is a point. If you didn't want to show your emotions since it's a weakness, don't laugh.
No, that's a different emotion.
It's still an emotion.
Laughing is not a sign of weakness.
Neither is crying. It shows that you're human.
Debatable.
It's not debatable.
Yes, it is.
And this is why mental health is such a big thing, because you really believe that in your mind you can't change it, and you're saying you have to do a whole factory reset. You're gonna have to go back to the beginning. You don't have to. You just have to take it step by step and realize that the things that we were conditioned to believe, they don't matter.
Let me put it to you this way. Imagine you. This is just an example. This is just a metaphor. So don't take everything I'm saying literally. Okay? Imagine that you were raised to be racist, right? You hate white people. You hate anything that's not black, right? All right. So as you get older, you might realize that your way of thinking is not right. You realize, by being racist, that's not the right thing. You can stop being racist. Like you can. All right. I don't hate these people. I don't hate, etc. I love everybody. But you might still have like some of those little racist. Yeah, some of just like little small racist seeds, like internally, that's just still there. But you're not racist. Just like I think all black people like watermelon, but I ain't racist. You can still think like that, those type of things. I feel like that's the same thing when it comes to me and, being like my whole toxic masculinity. Like, I understand it's wrong. I did change some things, but it's like still a little small frame.
I understand that. I see where you're going with it, but also I realize that there are some things that are easier to see out in the open, right? And they're way easier to change. Like, of course, like in your example, you're not outwardly saying, "Oh yeah, I'm not saying I'm racist anymore," but like I still have those internal things of like, "Oh yeah, this is what black people do,"
Yeah.
But like that's not. You can still change that. You can change it.
We talking about being vulnerable though. We talked about the importance of being vulnerable.
But it's important to understand that yes, I have these things, these thoughts about myself, right? I believe this, I think that, but it's important to realize that thinking it is a first step, and after you think it, you need to change it. You have to. I'm not saying like that is one of because there's different levels of it, right? Being racist and that one is a way above, in my opinion, of you being crying, as a form of weakness, right? Some things need to be changed faster than others because that can cause somebody to be injured. You crying, not crying, and right? It's more superficial than it would be in terms of like racism. You get what I'm saying? But in both ways, it's something that you have to realize exists inside of you and around you. And then you have to go about it in the best way to change it.
I hear you, but I just know it don't exactly work like that.
It's like, gonna be hard though, but yeah.
Like
why?
Some shit is so deep rooted that you just have to like learn how to accept it and love it about yourself.
You have to accept it and love it about yourself, but you can still try to change it, and you may not change it.
I'm not gonna change it.
You don't want to change it.
I'm not.
You don't want to change it.
It's not that I don't want. What? I wouldn't change it I wouldn't change it.
You don't want to change it. That's the point.
I wouldn't.
And people, when they don't want to change something, like, and this is what I realized, and this is going to sound so cliche, but like, this is like the truth. You can beat it down somebody's brain, right? You can say, well, this and that and this and that, right? You can literally make yourself turn to fucking blood. Just turn blood. Then they won't change. You can yell it from the top of the roof or anything, but it's going to be, if they don't want to change, you're not going to change. So you have to understand that you're going to be a pillar that's going to be there when everybody else is washing the flood away. You're going to be one of the people that's like, no, crying is a weakness thing. Well, so you're saying, no, I'm asking you a question.
I'm not going to teach my kids that.
Okay, so I'm asking you that. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no. So I understand when I was raising my kids, I'm going to let my kids like, hey, son, you can be vulnerable. I'll give them, the hazards of being vulnerable, the hazards of being crying. They ain't gonna be no little punk with crying. But I will like let them know like, hey, the way that daddy is, the way that daddy do, you don't have to be like daddy. You can be better than daddy. That's what I would tell my kid.
Okay.
Like I said, I realized that and it's because
generational trauma, generational cycle.
It's because of when I was raised and how I was raised, why I think the way I think. But that don't mean I'm gonna raise my child like that. Nah, because like I know I got some fucked up shit in me or whatnot because of the way I was raised. I'm not gonna pass that on to my kids.
I wish the older generation did that. I wish they realized that, hey, I'm still stuck in my ways, but everybody else doesn't have to be like that too.
Yeah,
I wish it was that way.
Of course,
because then it would even move us towards a state of even more healing than what we were before. Because sometimes, like, I had to get to a point where, like, I had to go out and look for the resources of healing and do this, like that. I didn't learn any of this stuff from my grandma or my family. Like, they loved me, they cared about me, but like, I didn't start doing all this healing until I was like by myself. Like when I was like out from my family, when I went to basic training AIT, when I was it was just me. Because none of the people over there was really worried about me. We was all free for all. Oh, and I want to talk about basic training. My mental health was off the roof charts. Yeah, I was like going through it. I literally had to start doing my own little sermon, like my own little Bible study this is what I would do. I would get there when I have my free time. I would get my little book and my notes, and I would just write about, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to have when I leave here from basic training. Like in my locker, just sitting in my locker, just writing. I want this, I want that. And most of the stuff came true. I wanted I asked to have a podcast, right? I asked for all the stuff that I wanted. And I wrote it down. I was just crying. I was writing. I was like, oh, I'm just so thankful. I kept writing. Oh, I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for my family. Just writing and writing and writing. And it got me through a tough time. And it was that time was a very mentally draining. It was so much, oh my goodness. Like, if I could relive that, I wouldn't. I wouldn't relive it. They said, oh, you want to relive this? I'll give you an option. You can have it.
I don't know. I feel like you'll be missing out on your blessings by doing that.
Going back to basic training?
Not that basic training, but going to another one. Hear me out. It sounds like you did the most growing, you did the most changing whenever you were in basic training, right? Because you were most uncomfortable. You was in a completely new environment.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I did the most growing. I see what you're saying. The most growing in terms of of what I did before.
Yes.
Like, but right now I did more growing than that. I see what you're saying.
Think about how your mindset changed, from before you got to basic to how it was after basic in that short, a month and a half, 2 months?
Yeah.
Think about the change in that. That was fucking exceptional. So I'm just saying, by you saying you don't want to do it again, if you go back to the same basic, it'll be a little bit different. You wouldn't get anything out of it. But if you went a different, or you went through the same equal hardships, I feel like it'll be just as beneficial.
But that's the important thing. This is a really good topic to talk about then, because I feel like we shouldn't have to go out and look for hardship to learn a lesson.
You do,
because you're gonna learn a lesson regardless of the hardship.
You do your most wrong when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, but you don't have to go. And this is just our conversation, right? I was literally to a point where I would go to school and I would be doing all the healing and all that. Because I was a person where I thrived outside of my house because I felt like it was so toxic. So when I went to school, it was a place where I was free. I was happy. I was doing everything. I was a different person. So after that, I forgot what I was trying to say. What was the point?
Right,
that's so crazy to me.
You talking, I'm listening.
Now I'm talking, right? I'm I had a good point. What was the topic?
So are you listening to understand, or
I'm listening to understand?
No, you listening to respond.
No. Go ahead. Go. What was it? What would you say? So I can remember what I said, because this is a really good point.
I was listening to understand.
What did you say before that? So I can remember what I said.
About going through hardships. You were saying something.
Oh yeah. And I realized. I remember now. Because I started talking, I forget what I was the whole point of me talking.
Because you listen and respond.
No. Because I just forgot.
Okay.
I just be forgetting stuff.
All right.
I almost forgot this time too.
Okay.
But I hold it in my head.
Go ahead.
But I realized that when I went back into my house with my grandma, I was triggered. And I was forced to go back into a state of you shouldn't have to find yourself in a position to where you have to go back to realize, to see if you're triggered, is what I'm trying to say. I healed. Okay, let me go back over here and get tested. You don't have to go look to be triggered. You'll get triggered regardless. I go to work and I'm already being triggered by these people. So it's not a thing of I gotta go look for the hardship. The hardship gonna come. You just keep being true to yourself, it's gonna come. That's what I was trying to say. I just forgot. I was not listening to respond.
You don't have to always go back to hardship. But if the opportunity is given, if the opportunity is presented, sometimes you should just take it. Not saying you should always take it, but sometimes you should take it. If you don't have enough going on in life, or if you're not busy enough, or if you haven't been doing enough growing within the last couple of weeks, months, years, or whatever, then of course I think you should hop on it, whatever hardship comes your way. But I don't think you always have to choose hardship over the easy road. It's just whenever you need to do growing and learning, that's when you should choose it.
The hardship?
Yes.
I believe that once you get to a point in your life, you can choose to go. I know you just said this, right? But I'm gonna rephrase it. That you can choose to say, "Oh yeah, this is the easy thing, right? I'm gonna get something out of it, but let me go this way to where it's gonna be something that's more challenging, but there's more so a reward that's gonna last for a longer time, longevity, right? I had to realize when I did this stuff, this podcast stuff, that I want longevity. So me trying to get this quick fame, this quick satisfaction of being, famous and, having success, it's not going to last. And my time is not this time to somebody else. Just because somebody else got successful before me has nothing to do with me if I'm deciding to go on this path that is harder, but it's a more of a longevity thing. So that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I wanted to say about that.
Speaking of hardships, one thing I can say and one thing I have realized, by me picking up my hardships, it's like the more hardships you go through, the more life becomes easier. Don't get me wrong, this bitch is still tough. This bitch got hands.
And it's not even that it's getting easier to say. It's getting easier to adapt and to understand it more.
Yes.
Life is going to be the same throughout the entirety of it. But it's going to be easier because you're learning that, I can do this, I can do that.
But that comes from the hardship that you really learn those lessons. So it's like, I'm not saying you should pick hardship, hard times over like every opportunity you get. But I do feel like you should pick it more, or you should pick hardship over, being relaxed all the time,
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah. And we have to realize that sometimes in terms of mental health, going through hardship, it's okay and it's not the end. Just because you're struggling does not mean you're in a mental crisis. You can just go through it and learn from it, understand it.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I once heard Kevin Hart speaking. He was like, he was about to start stripping. His brother asked him,
stripping?
Yeah, like a stripper.
Kevin Hart was about to start stripping.
Yeah, be a stripper.
No, he didn't.
I'll send you the link. I'll show you the video later.
He was stripping?
He was about to start. Who
finna watch Kevin Hart strip?
You getting caught up on the small things, man.
I'm like Kevin Hart.
Let me finish.
Kevin Hart.
Yes. I will send you the link, the video. It's on YouTube. But he was like, his brother called him because he had bought the stuff, and his brother like, what you doing?
He bought the stuff.
Yeah, the uniforms to be a stripper.
Okay, go ahead.
So his brother was like, what you doing? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he was like, I'm out here struggling. And he was like, his brother was like, so what? So we all out here struggling. So what? No, like by him saying that shit just triggered something to me. So it's like whenever I am going through hard times, whenever I am struggling, I'm like, so what? Fuck it, let's go. Let's get it on. Like it is what it is. Everybody's struggling.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, that just triggered something in me.
Yeah, and like that is a conversation to where we lead to going through a mental crisis, and understanding that yes, you went through this. You didn't want to go through this, but you had to go through it because you didn't know any better. And people can decide to hurt you and come through your life, but it's our job to heal. It's our job to heal and do the things that we need to do to become better people for ourselves. And it's going to be hard. And it's not our, like, why do we have to heal from this? Why do we have to, suffer and go through all this suffering again just so I can feel better? Why is it up to me? That's the question that we ask ourselves, and we want to go through, like, why did it have to happen to me, instead of just, understanding that we may have not been the reason why it happened, but we have to move towards healing for ourselves, because at the end of the day, it's not going to be for anybody else but for ourselves. Sure. You can't, and that's where the forgiveness comes from. That's where I'm going through this, and I went through this, and this person did this to me. They're still living their life. They're not worried about me anymore. The forgiveness is for you, so you can have peace, forgive them, and let it go. And let that person just, if they're not in your life anymore, then they're not in your life anymore.
To an extent, I agree with you. You said, it's not for nobody but yourself. To an extent, I do agree with you. Up until a certain point, for you, like at the stage you're at in your life now, to you, it's just for you. Anything, any change, any healings that you do, it's just for you. But let's give it 10, maybe 15 years down the road, whenever you have a little one to look after, I feel like any changes, anything that you do then, it'll be for you and them.
Yeah, but I'm talking about you went through something, because I'm going to talk about my experiences of why I have this way of my thinking. But when you go back and you went through something, and you dealt with something that was out of your control, and it was like a traumatic experience, and it caused you to have a mental crisis, that healing and that lesson is yours. It's your lesson to go through. It's your lesson to learn and to go through and to struggle and then forgive for yourself. Of course, when you get older, there's going to be people that you care about that can learn from this lesson, but that's not their lesson to learn. You can give them tips and stuff and try to teach them, but they're never going to have the same emotional connection to that memory, because they didn't go through it. They didn't have that.
Okay.
So I feel like, yes, it's important that you learn and you take the lesson that you have with you. So when you go somewhere else, they can take that lesson, and it's like a constant of healing, generational healing is what we're both saying. But
I see that.
That's my lesson learned. That ain't nobody else's lesson.
I see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. Oh, you gonna pick up the wine? Okay.
What you want some?
I'm I was supposed to be abstaining from sex, but I just started abstaining from just liquor. I messed up yesterday. I forget sometimes. I think my brain lies to me.
Yes, man.
Because I'll tell myself, oh yeah, I made a whole post about it. I'm like, oh, is that grape juice or something? You guzzling it?
Man, wasn't nobody guzzling. That was a sip.
Damn.
That was a sip.
Well, let's talk about it. Are you okay?
Am I okay?
Like, how are you feeling right now?
I force myself to be okay. Yeah.
No, that's not healthy.
What you mean?
You force yourself to be okay?
Well, I'm not in a position where I cannot be okay.
What does that mean?
I'm like where I'm at in my life. I have to be okay.
You have to be okay, or are you okay? Like, are you?
I have to be. I'm okay.
But why do you feel like you have to be okay?
Because
what is making you have to be?
Because if I fall off, if don't shit go my way, like I'm assed out. Like I ain't got nobody to fall back on, so I have to be okay. I have to stand on all 10 toes.
Why do you feel like you taking a step back and reevaluating yourself and saying, "Hey, I'm not okay"? Why do you feel like that's gonna be?
Why?
Why do you feel like you're gonna fall because of that?
Because then I feel like I would have to like get in my head and start asking myself problems. I would have to, I guess, take more time to heal myself, or I would have to take time off to backtrack to fix myself to get okay.
But why is that a problem?
Why is that a problem? Because I don't have that time. I don't have. Listen. I'm not fortunate enough to have people to fall back on. Like whatever I do, anything I do, is all on me. Mm-hmm. So it's like if I fail, then like I can't depend on anybody to help me up. I have to do it all on my own.
You don't realize that by holding on to that, I have to be okay, you're putting more pressure on yourself, and you're putting more on yourself to where eventually you're gonna crumble, you're gonna crack because
you think so?
You're not getting because this is the whole thing about Black households and how you're just enabling things that happened to you in different ways in your life into other people.
And you know what? This probably does relate into like my whole toxic masculinity, the way I think and the way I believe. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I'm here now. I ain't got to accept it, but it's like I do accept it, and I'm here now.
But that, like, you saying, "Oh, I don't want to." What was the thing that you said about?
What, stop and heal? I can't stop. I gotta keep moving forward.
That's the same thing that our parents were doing. Oh, I can't stop. I don't got time to have a conversation with you. I can't take time to understand you. Mm-hmm. I can't. I just gonna have to give you a ass whooping.
But it's with myself though.
And now you're beating yourself down. It's not physically. It's mentally now.
But something is working if I'm still able to wake up each day and I'm still able to...
That don't mean you're working. People go through their entire lives.
I said something is working.
What's working?
Something is working. I'm not a bum. Yeah, that's working. I'm not a bum, and like I'm doing more things than I've ever done. I'm doing, more things than my family members have ever done.
But imagine what more you could do if you decided to say, "Hey, I can take a break and I'll be okay."
In order for that, I would need to actually take a break.
Why can't you just take a break? Because once I get done with this work, I'm taking a mental break. Okay. I'm taking leave. I'm not leaving the peninsula, but I'm taking leave.
Okay.
I'm doing my mental because I need it. I need to do it. We have to have that time when we talk to ourselves and we have conversations with ourselves. Tough conversations. We have to. Because nobody else is going to do it for us.
I hear you, and I agree. And I'm picturing myself, taking a break. What does that actually look like?
So wait, what are you taking leave for again?
What you said? When or what?
Where? What? So, what are you taking leave for?
What? To go to Japan.
So you're going to Japan to have?
I'm trying to
have fun, right?
Yeah.
What about you take half and half for fun, half for mental?
That's what I was going to get into.
You're saying you don't have time, but you got time to go to Japan.
Listen. That's what I was going to get into. Well, life is short. Like I'm always choose to travel. Over
but
anything.
You're gonna. There's TikTok of this lady where like she's like a nurse for like older people, and like when they're in their last breath, the things they wish they did. Mm-hmm. They wish they did this. They wish they did that. A lot of people said they wished they lived truthfully as they were. You going out and having fun and lying to yourself about how you actually feel. When you get older, you're gonna be like, damn, I really did not live.
Hey, you might be right. But that's one thing I was going to also get into, though. It's like when I'm restless. I'm restless, so I always have to be doing something. I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to take a break.
That is a challenge I'm dealing with restless. Too. Mm-hmm.
So it's like even if I was, even when I do, go to Japan and I come back for a couple of days, it's like I'm gonna sit, I'm gonna twiddle my thumbs, I'm gonna get bored. I'm not gonna know what to do or how to act. So I'm gonna start moving. I'm gonna start doing something.
That's me. Like I'll literally be in my room, and I kid you not, I'm always on that computer. I'm always doing something. I'm here. I'm doing this. I'm doing that, and it's never. It's so uncomfortable for me. I got to a point where like I was just always doing something. Even when I was supposed to be relaxing, I found myself doing something productive because I didn't want to just sit down and just be thinking, just have my time to think. So when I got to a point, it's such an emotional thing where I had like a mental crisis here. It was like kind of like a couple of weeks ago when I made my vlog, right? And I went around vlogging and stuff. I was full of so much anxiety and stuff. And of course, it was more of I had to find myself to do something that was productive, right? Me vlogging and stuff in order to go out and be vulnerable. Because I don't really go out by myself. I'm always with people. So when I went out there and I was doing this, it hit me and I was just crying. Just crying.
Just crying while you was vlogging?
No, I held it in the whole day. I went to go watch the movie. I watched. It's called Talk to Me. It's a horror movie. A horrible ending. It was a good movie. I just hate how they.
You ain't gotta tell me like.
I ain't gonna spoil it, but like I ain't gonna spoil it, but like, basically it's about this like demonic hand, right? Like people keep bringing it from over here. This person gives it this person, right? And then you like it's like this thing where like you have it like right here in a group of people and like in a circle, and then they're like, okay, and they have the candle and stuff. And you hold the hand, right? You
can stop right there. I ain't gonna watch it.
And it was like,
I ain't gonna watch it.
What's the first thing they said? I'm open or something. I'm listening or something. And then they go inside of you and stuff. And it's like this crazy thing. But it was like really, really, really good.
I'm not gonna watch it.
But after that, I was like, I had so much of a mental crisis of anxiety.
No wonder you was fucking crying. The fucking demon that got into you.
That wasn't why. That wasn't why. I was already dealing with that before I even watched that movie. You're so delusional.
They don't help. They don't help.
It probably didn't help, but it just helped. It helped with the inevitable crisis that I had to realize in myself.
Okay.
About mental health. Like, this is me, and I can't depend on other people to have fun or just go out and do something. Why am I going to the place where I'm vlogging at and I'm feeling so much anxiety? Like I'm like literally just going to go have fun, to go sightseeing and have a great time. Why am I so afraid? Like what am I afraid of?